Series 27 minifigures are finally here! I bought all of them and made a bunch of custom minifigures to show you. So let's waste no more time and hop right in. First we have this hamster costume kid. If you really like him, you can make him even better by adding this fluffy tailpiece from the Series 2 Disney minifigures. Otherwise, if you add these legs and mask, you can make a big teddy bear man instead. I suppose the head works for a custom LEGO City kid, but the only other custom idea I could think of is to use this cucumber slice for a healthy snack. Next we have the Wolfpack minifigure. I've already made a whole video on custom ideas for this guy, so go check that out if you want to see those. But for a new idea, I've made a fully fledged Wolfpack tournament knight with moving helmet, thick cloak, and a huge sword. He's even got a black horse to ride on. As for the wolf itself, give it cubs by using the puppies from the D&D Aarakocra Ranger. Speaking of the Ranger, adding its torso and head with the wings and legs of Cupid, you get a baby Aarakocra Ranger, ready to take flight with Big Bird. Another idea for Cupid is his custom Aphrodite, made with parts from the Series 12 Goddess and Cupid's torso. Or you can make an adult Cupid with these dual molded legs and big wings. I wish the legs had hearts instead of paw prints, but you get the idea. I also attached Cupid's right arm to this Hercules torso to make a custom Viking warrior. Another way to make a Viking minifigure is by taking the horns from the Bogeyman and attaching them to a Viking helmet. This looks a bit unusual as they're blue, but is a cool alternative to the standard horns. The rest of the Bogeyman is kind of boring, but his body can make a cool wolf costume when used with his wolf head and tailpiece, changing from grey to blue. As for his accessory, if you have a bunch of LEGO books, you can make a cool bookshelf for a Harry Potter mock. I can't really see Hermione reading Boo, but it looks cool. One of the most detailed minifigures is this Jetpack racer. He's almost too detailed to be very usable, but I managed to use the legs to make a somewhat possible customized clone shop trooper with a giant blaster. I also like this minifigure's head. I used it to make a guy in a flying suit. The print works well as a mask for under the helmet, but if you flip it around and use this hood piece, it can also work for a cool ninja minifigure. The Jetpack racer flies into range of the Astronaut kid's telescope. I like this kid's legs, but they aren't a great colour. However, I managed to use them to make a blue dwarf minifigure and add a bit of colour to my dwarf army. This kid's hairpiece is also really nice. It looks great on plenty of minifigs, but I like to use it for this custom warrior minifigure. The Plushy toy collector is a cool idea, but doesn't look that great. The only idea I can actually think of for this minifigure is this custom Star Wars rebel. She would fit well into any resistance scene and is perfect to take on any Imperials. As for the head, I'm sure it works well for a custom monkey kid scene, but the only use I've got for it is as an alternate head for my Aphrodite minifigure from earlier. The only other idea I had was to use the plushes as Furbies and recreate this scene from the Mitchells vs. the Machines. The Longboarder has a cool new piece, but isn't too exciting. I'm sure they'd look cool in a LEGO City, but for a custom fig, I've used the head to make a Last of Us inspired character. I used a bow and arrow, quiver, and these dual molded legs with brown boots, and she came out pretty sick. I also like the grey backpack, which I used to make this geared up Imperial officer to battle the pink haired rebel. Only other thing to do is use the board as a tech deck and roll around. This cat guy is one of my least favourite minifigures. His face doesn't look very LEGO-like, and I don't really like the LEGO Curtains hairpiece. However, using the cat piece along with a bunch of other cats, I made a custom Mrs. Fig from Harry Potter. I also used the jumper for a cat Christmas jumper for Ginny Weasley, because, according to Ron, she was a great cat lover. The rest of the parts aren't of much interest to me, so if you can find a use for them, let me know. Next I'll use this Pterodactyl fig. At first I was scared to remove the arms, but I managed to do it and added them to this blue harpy torso. Along with the Bogeyman's legs from earlier and the Cyclops head, this makes for an awesome flying monster. The Pterodactyl's head is cool, but a bit hard to use with blue lipstick. I tried making this custom native-esque warrior based on the weird but tribal look of some of the LEGO Horizon minifigures. I think it's cool, but it's not my favourite minifigure. So instead I used it with this elfin torso and Kaminoan dress piece to make a cool royal elf minifigure which I really like the look of. The Steampunk guy is very cool. I love his look, especially his hat and gold arm. However, I feel he needs to be a bit more mad to be properly steampunk. To do this, I used this crazy old man's head instead and gave him a telescope as an extra accessory. It's not a big change, but now he looks truly steampunk. I also used this minifigure's head in a custom pirate video, so go check that out if you want to see how. Speaking of pirates, the last minifigure is the pirate quartermaster. This minifigure already looks really cool and is one of the best minifigures of Series 27. However, to make a custom fig, I used her tailcoat piece and this gnome's torso to make a naval redcoat soldier. The tailpiece is a bit too ragged to look properly like a royal officer, but came out cool enough. I also really like the head, so I used it to make a custom LEGO City crook. I'm not much into City anymore, but it came out really cool, and I'll never forget my origins in LEGO. So there you have it, all my ideas for Series 27 custom minifigures. If you want to see more custom minifigs, check out these videos, and I'll see you there. Peaces!